You are going to Detroit in the USA. Okay, one more. Oh my god, I love it. You're going to Mexico City. If you're new here, very welcome. My name is Yshana. I am 22 years old and I make videos about random things, but the topics tend to follow a theme of traveling, kind of growing up, university, and developing a relationship with yourself, because that is something that I'm super passionate about and I'm constantly learning and developing through that. So I enjoy sharing that online with some people. So yeah, I hope you stick around. This video is about some interesting ways to spend a gap year. Now, a gap year, for those of you who don't know, is basically a year-long break in between your studies. So it could be leaving school and going on to uni. You take a year out in between those two, figuring out what you want to do, or it can be putting your energy into something that's meaningful. And so I've come up with a few ideas from my own experiences, from some friends, and just from some research as to a few ways that you could spend your gap year in a really meaningful way. So I hope that you enjoy. Just before we start the video, I think that a lot of people tend to think that the only way to spend your gap year is to travel. Oh god, they've just started travel, which automatically means spending like a bunch of money on flights and accommodation, and that can be quite daunting for some people. I want to expel that myth. That is not the only way to spend a gap year, and I've broken this video up into ways to spend your gap year where you don't have to spend any money. Then we've got ways to spend your gap year with little money required, and then other ways which might require a bit more money and investment. So to kick straight into it, I've got no money required. So these are completely free options in theory. And the first thing to do is just take a bit of a relax, take a chill pill. Like, you're probably taking a gap year because you're at a stage in your life where you've been through education for like the last 8-7 years, and that's a pretty intense time. So why not just breathe a bit? Like, it's always super nice to have a moment of downtime in our busy lives. So a gap year is the perfect excuse, I guess, to just take even a few months or even a whole year if you need it, to just, just flow. I think it's so important that that's the first thing I say in this video, because I'm going to say a lot of other things and all these proactive things that you can do, all the ways to build new skills, but let's not brush over the fact that a gap year is probably one of the only opportunities really in life that you don't have any responsibilities. I'm assuming you've just finished education, you haven't got a degree, you're not working, so enjoy it. First thing is to rest. Second thing, which is really closely linked, is using that year or using a few months of that year to have a think about what it is that you want to do in the future. What it is that you might want to study at uni. Do you even want to go to uni? Would you like to do something at college? Would you like to pursue a diploma in the creative arts? It's so important to use that time wisely and have a think about what it is that you've already lived through and experienced, what skills you have, what hobbies you have, what you might enjoy doing, and brainstorming, making a bit of a rough life plan just to get the ideas flowing. And you can always build on that. It's not like the definitive guide to your life, it's just a starting point. Moving on from the kind of rest and reflection, what about starting a YouTube channel? I did this on my gap year and look at where it's taken me. I'm super happy. I'd really encourage those of you out there who maybe have something to say, have something to share, which we all do, to start a YouTube channel, and also to face your fears, because it's a very scary thing to do, to put yourself online. But do you know what? We only live once. Fear is a mental construct. You are better, you are bigger, you are much stronger than those fears. Just do it. Another thing that you could do in your gap year is gain new skills, take up a new hobby, whether that's knitting, whether that's DJing, whether you want to learn how to cook, read more, try pick up a new sport, join a club, start swimming. There are so many hobbies and skills out there that we have never even thought of doing, but we might be interested in it, but because we haven't done it yet, we're like, oh no, I can't do it, I'm too old. No, it's never too late. And I literally, last month I started DJing, I picked up jiu-jitsu this year, And these are all ways that just can bring a lot more meaning into your life and help you be feeling more fulfilled and dynamic, and that you're branching out and meeting new people and discovering more parts of yourself. Another way to spend your gap year is to make new friends, branch out, increase your networks, because these are the people who, at the end of the day, could lead to your big career job, could lead to your big relationship, could lead to the man or woman of your dreams. I have no idea, but people are opportunities. And so I would encourage you, if you've got a gap year, to meet new people, expand your horizons through people, through networking, through having a chat about some of the ideas that you might be thinking about doing in your future, getting a LinkedIn, starting to establish your network and growing that. Because another good way to spend a gap year is to learn a new language. Now I've put this under the low cost section because you can obviously learn a language wherever you are. That could be using Duolingo, Babbel. There's a few apps that you can find online on the App Store, even literally just watching YouTube videos. Learning a language is all about how you apply yourself. There are obviously ways that you can increase that learning process, and I will talk about that more in the later part of this video. But if you're really looking to learn a language, increase your linguistic capabilities, I would encourage you to start now. Literally go online. There is thousands, millions of resources out there. And just apply yourself well, and you will excel in learning a language, as long as you are motivated and as long as you are willing to kind of break through that barrier where it's like, oh my god, I hate this. Like, no, we love it. We love it.
Lovely. Yes.
Another low-cost way to spend a gap year is to do some volunteering. Now, this could be volunteering at your local charity shop, volunteering to help out your community, doing an NCS program, which is the National Citizen Service. I will link it in the bio. It's a great way to meet new people, to try some cool activities, as well as doing NCS. You can also do that on an international level. So once you've done the national program, you can also take it internationally, and they do volunteering programs in Africa, in Asia, perhaps in the Americas. And I think that if you are eligible, you can apply for some funding, or you might have to fundraise a part of that. But again, a really cool way to really tap into your skills, to feel like you are contributing to a wider project, and also to fundraise a lot of that money yourself. So it can be a great way to develop that kind of confidence, that independence in you. Aside from volunteering, let's say that you want to earn some money, get a job. So if that is hospitality, if that's retail, if that's working in a coffee shop, give out your CVs, you know, ask for some vacancies, and you'd be surprised as to people that will snap you up just by going into a shop or going to a cafe, being friendly, giving a smile, giving a good CV, which you've spent a good amount of time working through. Who knows, you might have your interview the day after, and you might be working in that shop, in that coffee shop, 3 days after, serving coffees. If you have a hobby or a skill that you want to use and get money from, you know, let's say you're a great skier, do a ski season, be a chalet girl. You know, I have a friend that's doing that in Canada right now. She is loving it, skiing every day, like, go for the gold. And last thing, and I'm gonna bring it back to this because you guys know that I'm just a sucker for this really, is journal through your gap year. Whether that's video journaling, whether that's written journaling, journal through that time, because I'm sure that you'll grow through that time, and a lot of that growth and a lot of that reflection comes in the future. So when you actually sit down and you think about, oh my goodness, a year has gone by, what did I do with it? Where have I come from, and where have I progressed? And journaling is a great way to literally experience that in a sensual way, and it can be really warming for ourselves, for our souls. So I'd encourage anyone who hasn't journaled before to think about doing it on the year, because you've got a bunch of time to explore with, and what better way than to, you know, to kind of put it into history in a way, because once you've journaled through it, like, it's there forever. Side note, but look at this amazing teapot that my grandma gifted to me for my birthday. I'm sipping on some oolong tea. It is delicious. It goes really well with my jumper, which is from Ecuador, by the way. We are now on to the low cost section of gap year experiences. Au pairing. To cut straight into this one, if you are someone who loves traveling, if you're someone who wants to get out of your comfort zone, who wants to just go somewhere new and start afresh, learn a new language, immerse yourself in a foreign culture, eat new foods, try new things, change up your bedroom, just change up your everyday. Aupairworld.com, start finding your families, create your profile. In a month, you'll be in Italy. Caveat is that you'll be looking after children, so if you are not a kids person, then perhaps this isn't the one for you. However, I do think that we are growing constantly, so you know, you can become a kids person. I didn't think I was the best with kids when I first did au pairing, but I pushed through it. It's lovely to be around like young, youthful energy, and kids are just the ultimate reflection of creativity, of joy, of light. You know? I would say that like au pairing is a great way to perhaps bridge that gap between wanting to travel but like not feeling confident in yourself because you don't know anyone, because you've never been traveling before, and wanting a bit of security and stability because you have accommodation which is paid for, you get pocket money, you can start building your networks from there. A second low-cost way to spend a gap year, and this is also international, is doing a volunteering program through Workaway. Workaway is a website which connects hosts who are in basically all countries in the world with young people. You essentially go and travel to their country and you will work in exchange for accommodation. So you don't have to pay for any kind of housing arrangements. You might have to contribute to food, but sometimes this can be included in the setup, and you can literally pick in terms of, you know, the work you'd be doing might be looking after children, it might be helping development of a house, it might be gardening, it could be farm work, animals, IT work, helping someone set up their website, marketing. If you want to get out there into the world and start exploring, but again, feel too scared to do it on your own, Workaway is great for that. You do have a £35 initial sign-up fee, which just basically gives you access to start connecting with Workaway hosts, but honestly it lasts for a year, so you know, you're bound to get something out of it. Another great thing about Workaway is that you can find Workaway buddies to travel with. So let's say you want to go to New Zealand, but you don't want to do it alone. Find someone that's going to New Zealand, connect with them, chat with them. Who knows, in a month you could be jetting off to New Zealand with them. How cool. So another low cost way to spend your gap year is by doing an online course to develop skills. You could go on Skillshare, and you could also put that on your CV, for example, once you've completed the course. You could learn how to code, develop your IT skills. So many employers nowadays are looking for people that are comfortable with using software and being able to use Word, Excel, Adobe, Photoshop. All of these things are things that as young people, you know, we have more of a niche towards, having grown up in the world that we live in. So I would encourage you to maybe branch into those skills and start developing them now, because they will serve you, I guarantee you, when you start looking for jobs and when you start looking for internships, perhaps later down the line. This brings me on to our third category of the video, which is medium/high cost ways to spend your gap year. Now I'm gonna say it because you've all been waiting for it. The first thing is traveling. And this could be backpacking abroad, this could be interrailing, this could be, you know, glamorous traveling with a big suitcase. I don't know, however you want to do it. Traveling is something that I would always encourage, and I vouch for it. And of course, there are ways that we can make it more environmentally friendly. So by catching less flights and taking trains and using buses and boats. I'm gonna spin the globe, and this is gonna be inspiration as to where perhaps you could go on your gap year. Let's go. Stop. Okay, so you're going to New Roundland, which is in Ireland, just off Canada. Yeah, I suspect it'll be very, very cold there. We're gonna give some more inspiration. You are going to Detroit in the USA. Okay, one more. Oh my god, I love it. You're going to Mexico City. As I said, traveling, absolutely killer way to spend your gap year. However, it is expensive. You've got to pay for flights. You've got to think about how to manage your finances. You've got to think about where you're going to stay. Of course, there is a way to mitigate that, and that is kind of what I was speaking about in terms of Workaway. So getting free accommodation in return for a few hours a day of work. However, you have to think about whether that's something you're okay with. You know, do you want to spend your gap year just traveling, exploring, enjoying yourself, or are you willing to perhaps lend a hand to someone who needs it and to have a bit more of a structure to your year? It really depends on your own personal preference. Second way, which is also high cost, is going through a gap year company if you don't feel like comfortable traveling alone. And this way you meet other young people who are also on their gap year, and you can pick a country that you want to go to, perhaps pick a program. I'm not going to sugarcoat the fact that, you know, when you leave your comfort zone, it can be scary, it can be challenging, you're alone and you're in a foreign country, so all your kind of safety networks are just not there. So it is important to be careful. So if you feel like you'd be more comfortable and feel more safe in an environment which is controlled, where you have people that speak the same language as you, where you are put with other individuals who are in the same position, then I'd recommend going through a kind of company or an organisation that can support you throughout the year. Third thing, which is also high cost again, is finding a summer school of your choice to develop or embrace a skill or a hobby. One of my best friends did a film photography class at Central St. Martin's, I think 2 years ago, which she really loved and helped her kind of branch out into the creative industry and learn how to film, how to shoot film properly. And that's also something that you can put on your CV in the future. The final thing that you could do on your gap year, which costs a bit of money but is probably going to be super, super great, is teaching English abroad. I know that China has a really excellent program in teaching English abroad, and I was actually going to do that once upon a time, but who knows, yet to be seen if I go to China and teach English. But check out the programs, literally type into Google teaching English in China. Again, upfront fee, but you are kind of supported through that process of applying for a visa, all the requirements, flights, finding kind of a host family perhaps, or you might find accommodation yourself. But again, it is structured, it is a program, you feel supported, and you perhaps feel more comfortable doing that than going through it alone. So to wrap up all of these ideas and all of these experiences, I'm feeling super inspired. I just want to get traveling again. However, that is not the case for me right now. I am, you know, really in the depth of studying, so I'm gonna get back to that. I wish you all a very lovely rest of your days, weeks, months, years, whatever it may be. Thank you so much for watching. Any comments, questions, chats, feedback down below. It is always a pleasure to chat, and yeah, sending you lots of love wherever you are in the world, and I will see you very soon for a new video. Bye!